Okay, it's 8:30. Today is the 6th of August. We're meeting in the Commissioner's Courtroom on our second budget hearing on the budget for 2013-2014. I'd like to certify that we have a quorum. We have 4 members of the court present. I'd like to ask you to stand for the pledge to the U.S. and Texas flags, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you all very much. Okay, Steve, here we go.
Okay, Judge, as promised, I think we'll start off with the tax information, and Dale's provided you some sheets in front of you, and these are the final numbers as far as his effective tax rates, etc.
Okay.
Yes, Steve, thank you. Commissioner and Judge, we've gone through all the numbers with our office, the tax office, and the appraisal district to finally resolve the little errors we were having in their TIF values. So we'll see where our total effective rate will be. We'll come to that in a minute. I revised the general fund tax information that was provided last time. On the first page, you'll see what our general fund is with a 1 cent decrease in our rate from last year. A little bit more than 1 cent, like you were saying.
I think, Dale, you're on the general fund,
General fund first page.
calculation, the first page. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay.
You'll see that we have a increase in our general fund tax revenue from prior year of 4.4 million, or 4,435,000. So that's a little bit. I believe it's a little bit more than you had, Steve. Not a significant amount, but these are the numbers that we should be going with at the 1 cent decrease in our tax value. I went ahead and included also the ones for the debt service, for the road fund, as well as for the hospital district, so you can have an idea of what their increases would be for using the values. And for the hospital district, we went down to the effective rate.
And you see with the effective rate, they still get a $388,000 increase, and that's from the new growth.
Correct. The next few pages are just to show the general fund, just the total levy, then to create our delinquent taxes and our penalties interest based on the same formula. I went in and provided you a copy of the next section. It would be our effective tax rates that we will be publishing, if approved, of course, showing the total effective tax rate for the county of 0.322678, which is our total combined tax rate for the county and then the farm market.
And that's about not quite midway down to the page. If you look at that on the left-hand side, you come where there's a break in there. You see the effective tax rate for the general fund and for the farm to market, and those two together
make your total for your effective rate. And towards the bottom of that same page, you'll see this year's rollback rate, combined total rollback rate, which is the maximum rate we can go without an election for rollback, which would be 0.345714, and we're proposing to be less than that. The next sheets is just showing how.
Commissioner, have a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
345714 is the total rollback rate combined. What we're going to go to is 0.345187.
That's what you're proposing. When they get the tax bill, that's going to be the tax rate that they will see.
That's what we're proposing, yes.
And are the effective.
Your Commissioner, your mic, please.
And you're saying the effective tax rate is 3,226, and you mentioned there was one other rate somewhere.
The maximum rollback rate on the tax calculation value, the maximum rate we can go without an election is 0.345714.
That's towards the bottom there, Commissioner.
Where did you?
On the
This is the page.
Okay, he's bounced back and forth a little bit here. Okay.
Huh?
The combined
Effective
effective
tax rate
rate,
is confusing. Our current tax rate, our current tax,
3555.
Yeah, you
Something.
guys are familiar
About
with it, we're
26,
not.
I
Joe
believe it is.
Bounty's going way too fast.
A little over a penny.
yes, we're going down about 1.000072 down from last year.
Here,
355. That's the current.
Down here is the rollback rate. Here's your effective tax rate, here's your rollback rate.
Yeah, I think so.
Commissioner was asking about the current was 355, right?
Effective tax rate, right there. Yes, sir. And then this is a rollback rate down here, a little bit further down, right here. That's the rollback. And this you'll see, as you see it, will be published in the Caller Time on Saturday. And that's it.
We are.
This is the effective tax rate for the rollback rate. This whole page will end up being in the paper on Saturday.
Yes.
Dale, you might just cover a little bit on the bottom of that effective tax rate calculation sheet where you have to put your fund balances and stuff.
Yes, towards the bottom page is basically our unencumbered fund balances for calendar year ending September 30th. And as we've already discussed earlier, we're estimated fund balance for the general fund of $21,324,000. For our other estimates, working with the staff and Steve, we've got a fund balance for the special revenue fund of $8,795,000. For the stadium, we're estimating about $3,677,000. For the airport, $97,399. For the inland parks, $242,000. For the coastal parks, around $926,000. Our debt service currently is at $4.1 million. Our self-insurance fund is currently at $643,000, and we're currently estimating capital projects around $500,000. The next section below that is what our debt requirements are for the calendar year, for the budget year for 13-14. And there's the series that we have. So our total debt requirement is $11,059,487. And with the debt rate we're proposing, that will be totally funded without any additional costs coming out of our fund balance. The next page we have is basically the same scenario calculation of the effective rate for the hospital district. You see for the hospital district, their effective rate, as we were talking about, was 0.148077. Our maximum rollback rate is 0.159923. So going with what we've been discussing, we're projecting them to have a balance of 1.48077, which is the increase of about $300,000 on their income from tax levies. And so that's basically our calculations for our effective tax rates. I provide you a little calculation summary and the actual worksheets for the tax rate calculations. If you'd like to go through that, we can. It's
I don't think we
somewhat
really,
confusing, but
I don't think we, unless there's any
Somewhat.
commissioner.
an understatement.
it's easy. But that's what we're projecting for our estimate actual for both the county and farm market as well as the hospital district. And then we're proposing with Steve the decrease from our last year's rate of a little bit over a cent to get to our value of 0.345187 for an increase on our general fund taxes of 4.43 million.
And the total rate reduction with the hospital district and the county is going to be a reduction of 2.4423 cents. So just about 2.5 cents, but it's a 2.4423.
For the hospital district?
No, for the county
Five.
and the hospital district.
Yes.
Yep.
What is that, about an 8% reduction in tax rate?
From
Well, it was
that's
35
the total
and a
tax
half.
rate with the hospital district is
If
at
you combine the two,
it's at 50,
About
51.
52.
Yeah.
35 and 16 is
Yeah.
about 52 cents. 8% of that would be 4. Yeah,
10%,
about 8%.
10% would be a
Right
nickel.
at 8%. Yeah,
It's not bad at all. That's good.
It's terrific. It's terrific.
If you get the
Yeah.
actual number, so we don't just
Yes.
pull from the hat, that'd be something. I
Well,
think we
it's
need.
about $4.5 million, which is very good, guys, very good.
So those are the changes that we have basically submitted for you today, from yesterday. We have the full numbers from the appraisal district, and we are satisfied with the numbers. And this is what we will probably be presenting to you for approval for our submission to the Caller Times for submission for our effective rates.
Tomorrow, right?
Yes, and tomorrow we'll be asking, tomorrow hearing, we have to state specifically what we're going to propose for the tax rate. So, we'd be proposing for the hospital district, we're going to be proposing the effective tax rate, which is
140.
the 0.14877. And for Nueces County, the tax rate, which we're going to be proposing, is the 0.345187. And along with that, we'll have the quarter page ad information that we'll read to you also, which will show the amount of additional revenue that is going to be generated for the county. Now, for the hospital district, we do not have to have a tax hearing because we're not raising the tax revenue at all. So this year we'll have proposing a tax hearing for just the county because the tax levy is going to be increased over last year's. Our tax rate is going to be higher than the effective tax rate essentially. So we have to have a hearing. The hospital district's tax.
It's lower than the rate that was last year.
It's lower than the rate from last year, but it's higher than the effective tax rate, so we have to have a tax hearing. Hospital district, we're adopting effective tax rate, so there's no requirement for the hearing, although they are getting new growth, additional funds, but that's not required to in there.
We're also requesting the effective tax rate?
For the county, no, the effective tax rate, no, we're proposing about 2.5 cents more than the effective tax rate. Yeah. For the county tax rate, we're reducing back from our current tax rate to right below the rollback rate. If you go all the way back to the effective tax rate, Commissioner, then your net revenue is going to be new growth revenue
Only.
600,000 or something like that. That's all you have additional revenue for the year.
So we go to the current rate, I guess.
We're going less. The current rate less minus a penny. Our current rate right now is 3.55, and we're going to go with 3.45. So we're reducing our rate by 1 penny. Which we're doing to get us down below the rollback rate. If we went with the current rate, we'd be open to a rollback petition.
But we're going to ask for the current rate of 3.55 minus whatever to bring us back to 3.45.
Yeah, we're going to be at we're proposing 3.45187.
Okay.
So that's just what give you some information, and we'll cover this in the synopsis tomorrow. And you'll have to take a record vote tomorrow on the intent for the general fund. The record for vote would be your intent to adopt a tax rate that is higher than the effective tax rate.
Okay.
Any other questions on?
Any questions? Anything for Dale?
I don't see anywhere here in the paper you gave us, the 3.45187.
It's on your very first page, Commissioner. It's on the very first page of the top.
Oh,
Right down there. Okay.
3.45714.
345.
5187.
That's the rate we propose to adopt, yes. Which is
Saying 87, so, but it's
1
714.
cent less than the current tax rate. I noticed in the San Antonio paper yesterday that they have to increase their tax rate 3 cents to keep from having a rollback. They're at 28, they're going to go to 31. It's a lot of money. Their debt service is a lot of money every year. Second, yeah, their debt service next year in San Antonio is close to $90 million.
Your debt service payment
That's a debt service payment
for 1 year.
about 90 million.
Yeah. Yeah, we're at 90 million total, or close to 100 million total, but
Their payment is about equal to our total debt. Yeah. Anyway, they're a big county. Big county. Anyway, any other questions for Dale or Steve on tax rates? Because tomorrow we will be voting on the county tax rate and the hospital district tax rate as required by the Truth in Taxation law. Okay? Dale, thank you for jumping on that and getting that done so quickly, and we appreciate that very much. And so,
My staff works very hard on it, as well as the tax office, so we've got a lot
well,
of people that think
that and everybody working together, we appreciate it very much. It's amazing. Okay. Okay, Steve?
I guess from there, we just, can you clean up the things we went through? You've had time to, digest what we had yesterday.
Yeah,
and,
that's good.
Don't
Do you
have
want to
anything
talk
new.
about the retirement thing at all? I think you had some.
I have a presentation, Judge, I can give the court that I think
Why don't
pretty
we do
clearly.
that? There were questions yesterday raised about unfunded liability and where we were about our own pension plan, and I asked Steve yesterday to do a bunch of research with TD, XYZ, MNOPQ, or whatever they are, TDRS. I never get those initials right.
TDCRS.
As you know, this year we had to increase our retirement fund contribution by $340,000, which is funding at the level required by the plan. So we are funding 100% of the requirement this year again. Okay.
This document that I'm handing out to you,
Very much.
we received from the Texas retirement system back in 2011, and so this is a little bit of dated data. I did talk to him yesterday and got a little bit of update on it, but this is a clearer picture, I think, of what we're doing. So I'm going to give you this presentation. The first page is just some parameters. One of the parameters that they used is they started out using a 9% interest rate for just the first year, but then down at the very bottom, that verbiage down there, you'll see that overall they're using the assumption that they're going to get 8% on the money, and this was back from 2011, but they were going to get 8% on the money going forward. So if you go to the second page, the picture that I'm going to show you is they had presented at the time two proposed propositions, to continue along in our current plan or go to a plan where we would immediately, that kind of maroon colored one that goes from 10% in 2011, it went immediately up to 13.3%. So we'd have had to make an increase of over just close to 3.5% of our retirement contribution in 1 year, and then it flatlined that same rate for a period of time. The blue line is continuing on what they projected if we continued on our current prognosis. So we continued along, and we were at about 10% there. We've gone up, this going forward in this year, we're going to be at 2.5% rate. It's actually we're getting to the 2.5% rate a little bit earlier than they projected, but that's the rate of our contribution. And you see from this, we continue to increase our contribution up through 2019, and at that point we get up a little bit above 14% that we've been contributing. Again, so that keeps taking a bite at a time of about these $350,000 bites that we have to get up to that point, and then it levels out, stays pretty steady, and about drops off over a period of time. The bottom, the section right below that is the funded ratio, and the funded ratio in the blue shows that we continue to decrease our funded ratio, and right now, as of the end of 2012, we were funded at 80. We were down to 84.2, I believe, is what we ended up being in there. Yes, and we continue in this scenario, taking us down to close to 80%. And the next page gives you exact numbers, but you can see it continues to go down. And then 2007, it kind of bottoms out, and that's close to a funding of. I think there it shows a bottom of like 82.6%. And then it starts to curve upwards, and we start moving upward. And they presented this plan back in 2011, which you looked at, as that, a plan that would show us getting back to the 100% funding. Now, of course, obviously, we all know the factor that's always in here is what happens to interest rates and what happens in the economy. And at that particular point, that was their projections on it. Moving forward, the current information I received yesterday shows that the economy didn't start up. We weren't at the 9%. They had started at 9%, and so we're a little bit behind in this plan. But they show the same picture. They show us getting down to about 80% and then moving upwards, and that the information they give me really wasn't in a picture format, so it wasn't as easy to share with you on this. But it's the same principle. What we have here looks like where we're at today is dropping down to a low of about 80% in 2017, and then picking up and increasing along there. Now, the market has started to increase a little bit along the line where that continues here, and what that impact has in there. It's just a prediction on there. So as at the end of our last budget year, our unfunded balance was $31 million out of it, and that was at, like I said, 84%. Our funded was 84%, so we were 16% unfunded. And this is something as Commissioner you pointed out yesterday, and everybody, we have to really keep a watch on the thing. If it doesn't follow along this projection, certainly then we're going to have to take a careful look at the plan as a whole and how we deal with that.
The thing here is that if we follow the funding recommendations of the plan out to the year 2034, which is roughly, what's that, 24, about 20 years.
20 years.
20 years. And the cost will increase gradually under the proposal to about 13.5% at a maximum contribution, and then it will start to drop back down over the period to about 7.8 if we follow the assumptions that they made. The plan here does cure itself. it cures itself if we just simply make the contributions every year at 100% of the suggested amount, and the county continues to do that. Where the county could get in trouble is if we intentionally underfund the amount of the required contribution for both the employees and the county in any one given year, then the gap really widens, because then we are creating Armageddon.
Yeah.
We are intentionally creating a situation that somewhere in the out years would just absolutely be something that would really be tough. Now, occasionally in Texas, a county will look at their unfunded liability and they'll pay it off. About 2 years ago, one of the big counties got a windfall from something, and they paid off their unfunded liability. It was several millions of dollars. And the next year, they gave a COLA increase of 2 or 3% to their employees, and they immediately became underfunded again. So every time you give a COLA increase, it creates the possibility of underfunding over the long haul your retirement plan, because it's cumulative. It every year adds on times that year. So a 2% raise this year and another 2% raise next year, it's 2 plus 2 plus 2. And then when you put the benefit package on there of the contribution, it opens that gap. And so they made a presentation to the urban counties earlier this year along this line, and the county that had funded it said, don't ever do that. Don't ever go out and pay your unfunded liability if you ever intend to give any raises, because every time you give a raise, it opens the possibility of having an unfunded liability. And I don't understand how all that works, but they showed it to us, and it does. So I think the message here for everyone is, as long as the Commissioner's Court funds at the recommended level, whatever that is, then we will gradually close the gap. Now, Joe McComb had raised a great point. Guaranteeing 7 or 8% in this economy and with the interest rates, to me, is unbelievable. I think the municipal plan guarantees 5%, if I remember correctly, and this plan guarantees 8 or 9. And so that's why it's so costly, quite frankly.
I think
Yeah.
the difference between the city plan and our plan is Commissioner's Court doesn't guarantee 7%.
That's right.
The
City guarantees.
guarantees 5%.
I remember that very well.
Well, the guarantee is made by, you pay our contribution, the guarantee is made by the retirement system.
That's correct.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't want to be gagging on gnats and straining on camels, but bottom line is the county guarantees the 7%. If the retirement system generates a 5% return for the year, you get a bill for the 2% to make up the 7%.
We
Make an 8% return, we don't get a bill. Is that an accurate statement?
we right now the employees are required to contribute 7%, and then the county contributes. We're up to getting to 12.5%. So it's not there. What the real return on it is we're paying back 2 to 1. We're at the 200 to 1. If you drop back from there, then that decreases it. But the 7% is what the plan uses as their overall. They're guaranteeing that much interest rate into the plans, and so if interest rates fall off, that's part of our increasing. I think in what.
Well, that's what I mean. So bottom line is the counties. I mean, I could sit here all day, and if you and I agree, I'll be your investor, and I'll guarantee you a 10% return. However, if because of my smarts I don't get but a 6% return, I'm going to send you a bill for the difference,
Yep.
and at the end, and you pay me that difference, and then I tell everybody I've got a 10% return. So the plan has no risk. The investors at the state county level have no risk. They're guaranteed by their participating members that they're going to get the return that they promise. And if it isn't done in the investments It's done by sending a bill to their participating members.
Yes, but if major counties in the state of Texas dropped out of the plan, then the plan no longer is actuarially sound, and so it changes all the dynamics. Our contribution is a part of the greater whole, and if you had a county, I don't know who's in it, Harris County's not in it, but whoever's in it, they could affect the plan materially. It could be where all of the math doesn't work anymore, because you have to keep people contributing at the level where we're contributing across the state of Texas, or it doesn't work.
Well, I understand. I mean, I understand the cooperative.
Yeah.
I mean, in Texas Baptist, we had what we call the cooperative program. All the churches contributed a little, and it made a big thing. My concern that scares me to death on this thing is that everybody you talk to, and you listen to, and the prognosticator, maybe not everybody, maybe I'm listening to the wrong people, I don't know. But at some point, the market is artificially being successful right now, and that's just because of continued federal pumping. And at some point, that's going to stop. And when that stops, it's Katie bar the door, I think, on these retirement funds. And I think that's what's got these pension funds from, you're talking about Detroit and some of these other cities, is that they can't make up the difference. It just got too big, and that's what concerns me is the guarantee.
What's keeping the market up now is speculation. It's not that anybody owns anything.
No, it's just the feds just keep throwing money in it.
$85 million a month.
At some point,
Yeah.
it's going to stop. I don't know whether it's going to be during this administration or the next one. It's just the printing presses are just going to break. But at some point, then you're going to have every retirement system in the country in a heap of trouble. And that's what concerns me. And I don't know how you prepare for that. But I think we'd be foolish not to admit that exists.
Yep.
Where do we fit in, and what do we do? What do we do about it? I'm not disagreeing with you. I know that our pension funds throughout
The country.
the country are in a perilous situation.
The 7%, we can't impact that. We can't change that. That's the retirement plan itself. But what we can change is basically what the ratio, what we match on the thing there. But the TCRS would have to, the board itself would have to make that change. And
I just think I'm not proposing it, but I'm thinking
I
we
understand
really
that.
ought to have a pretty serious, and it's not political, it's financial. And, the 200%, that's, you can get in your car and drive all over town. You won't find a private sector investor that's giving that kind of participation. And there's some that are not making any participation at all.
It's done pretty good for me.
Yeah.
That's too.
Yeah.
But,
Commissioner, that's part of of course, as we talk about it, our young people don't understand it, but that's one of the reasons, the Eagle Ford Shell, you can get these big wages, but they don't have this retirement that's going with it, and they don't have the insurance benefits going with it necessarily. So, again, we're competing with the market out here, even in just the local sector, our clerks, et cetera. Our salary ranges are less than what not a local sector, but we make up with the benefits. Something that's it's hard to look. You don't see it in the paycheck, but it's there and real for people. And so that's.
it's just, every masquerade has a midnight hour, and I'm just afraid one of these days when the mask is pulled off, they're going to look in there for their retirement fund, and it's going to be empty.
Well, you may be right.
And it's scary.
But there's a lot of folks out there facing the same dilemma, so, yeah, I know. Steve, yeah.
I have.
Yes, sir, please.
Closing here, maybe we have one omission on classification recommendations.
Okay.
I thought that it was in here. That's for the library. Where are you on?
Where, you on tab
Tab 8.
8?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought
Yeah, I think I did give Commissioner some information. He had verbally given to me, and I didn't pick up on and get the document.
Well, I knew I hadn't gotten that information, so anyway.
10%, that would put her right in line, right below,
But I think what Commissioner, when we talked about it just a little while ago, you was looking at a one pay group change. The pay group changes, one pay group is 5%. But it would put her, right now she's at a pay group 29. It would put her at a pay group 30, which would put her at about $55,000. She's currently at 52. We're talking about the step right now, so it'd be about a $3,000 increase, and it would be, I think the risk manager position is at going to be 50. It's at 57 right now, and with the step in increase, it'd be up there, but it'd be below the risk manager position. But the risk manager increased last year, and this position stayed level, and then below that. So that was what Commissioner communicated to me as a reasoning for moving this up.
So we're talking about
$3,000. Yeah.
benefits and everything?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. That's a motion? Okay.
But not a motion, but a recommendation.
Recommendation. Yeah. Okay. Anybody object to that? No? Okay.
So that's the part that.
It was not included. It was not included on the reclassification sheet, Commissioner.
You know, the grants department wasn't either. Does the grants department belong here?
I'm sorry.
The grants department?
They did not. We didn't have a recommendation from there. And as I told you yesterday, they're getting they're in the step increase, but
I'm sorry, who was
but
that?
the grants. He's talking about the grants.
Oh, Grant. Yeah.
We didn't. As far as the budget packet, we didn't have Ida's request, but she did give Commissioner a written statement on to pass on, and I didn't have it included.
So, okay, I'm
Now,
let
let
me
me,
realize how we
Commissioner,
do things.
what Commissioner had asked me about it was the grants department. We're talking about the department heads, and Ida's, of course, the department head over there. Department heads of the grants and risk management and several of these department heads they're in the 60,000s. They're at a higher level on there. There's a few of the departments, the emergency management isn't at that level. It's down below that, and this department is below also.
department head that was a little bit closer to being in line with the other.
Grants is already higher, right?
The grants is already at equal with the rest of the department
And I
heads.
totally agree with all that, but that's why I always worry about the bottom guys coming up,
Yeah.
But, and let me ask one more question, I guess, it was in this topic, I guess. How about the JP's senior clerks? I mean, we don't reclassify them, and then, they got a senior clerk too, that like the county attorney, the district attorney.
We did that last year.
Yeah, we did some reclassification on it. I told Commissioner, he asked me this question yesterday, and I didn't get to giving you the data on that. I apologize. Frankly, I walked out and get the other information you're asking and didn't get that, but I'm pretty certain that it wasn't me. If it wasn't last year, we did some reclassification several years ago because they made and it may have been part of our reorganization, but
I think probably they're pretty, I mean, you compare everybody else too, they're pretty low. I mean,
but when we get into, now we're getting into clerk rooms and we're talking about clerks countywide,
Well, you got an accounting clerk here for the welfare. You got a financial aid. And let me ask you one more question, because I mean, I just
Yes,
need
sir.
to clear
Yes.
myself. At one point, I know the JPs, how do the JPs go up on scale other than the 3 years thing? Do we ever decide to say, well, we need to maybe add another 5,000 to the JP salary, or?
just
How
like
do-
the rest of the elected officials, we from time to time, but basically through the COLA increases we've done.
So the only increase they get, like, is it every 3-year increase, something like that?
2.5%.
Yeah.
10%?
Because they're kind of, the group and then, the spread in there and the constables and JPs, and then we go
Because,
to.
because I was there once too, so that's why, 50,000 is hardly nothing for the work that the JPs do and the revenue they bring into this county, and we're always trying to make them do a little more, but, and I know other counties, the JPs, some of them depends on whatever they are, they make, 60,000, 65,000, but, I just, it's
What's our JP salary? It's about
50, I think it's
70? Or
Our JPs are at 50,000 ranges from,
Okay.
56,000, the justice piece itself is at 56,000. And
I don't know, that was kind of one of my concerns, how do we, we always take care of the county judges, district judges, but not the JPs, and I don't know, we pay them all the same, not just, it's a question that, I don't know, we pay them all the same, all the same.
Except based on longevity. Yeah. Like Judge Santana, I'm sure makes more than Judge Benavides. Yeah, they've been here a long time. Cox,
They make $2 more an hour.
whatever it is.
I'm just, it's just something I don't
Yeah.
know that when you're making that, $50,000, and you got all that, and that's the bulk of the work, is to the JPs.
Okay.
Maybe we can review that, Judge, I don't know, if we look at it on the road or something.
We it's 6 and 1, half dozen in the other. I guess every elected official, including us, would like to have somebody look at the base and move it. The base, for instance, for the county judge in this county is 80,000, and it hasn't changed. God, I don't know, Barnes maybe, or before, and Jim Wells County and some of the other counties pay their county judges a whole lot more. But I'm fine with where we are. But if we ever go into the elected official bump, I think we'd have to really do an analysis across the board, because and I don't know, Joe, you've been a JP, I've never been a JP, I've been what I am, but I know if you look at commissioners' pay and judges' pay and other county judges' pay in some of these other urban counties, it's a whole lot more than we are here. But their base is a lot greater. It's a whole lot greater base and a lot greater tax base.
Yeah, one of the things I've cursory looked at, I know that it caught me off guard, but JPs in San Antonio, they're around $100,000, but they only have 5 of them.
5 of them.
They have a JP for each commissioner's precinct, and one commissioner precinct, I believe they have 2 of them. But the numbers, we're at 9. In some of the bigger counties, for whatever reason, they may have more staff, but they have fewer JPs.
Clinton County is looking at reducing the number.
There's all the way down to 4.
Down to 4.
Yeah.
1 per precinct, which is required by statute.
Yeah.
And
So I think some of those salaries are driven by the numbers, I guess.
So anyway, we have 9, and I don't propose changing that because I know they've sort of ramped up and doing a much better job. Oscar, did you have anything else? Good. Joe, you have anything else? Joe Gonzalez, anything else?
No, that's some of the questions that I had, so.
Okay. And Joe McComb, anything else? I don't have anything else. Dale, anything? Okay.
Mike?
Oh, still,
Yeah, go ahead.
Mike?
The vote tomorrow is the one that really
The vote tomorrow's,
train out of the station, right?
yes, sir.
Okay.
With the vote tomorrow, assuming that we do what we're talked about today, then we'll have to post notice of our intent to increase our tax revenue, and we'll have a public hearing, 2 public hearings following that. We'll have 2 quarter-page ads we'll have to put in the paper. the reason tomorrow, as soon as we do this tomorrow, Dale will be getting the effective tax rate sheet over to the Caller Times and the first quarter page ads that we have to go into the paper. And that will get over tomorrow too, because that's in Sunday's paper. So it starts, then it's the process. Our time schedule starts, and if we don't, there's times earlier than later we can do things, and so if for some reason we get off base with that, we'd have to start over some of the stuff, but we never had that problem. We do have to, with this, elected officials, the judge will send out a letter tomorrow afternoon to all elected officials. And it'll be giving them what their salaries are going to be. That's part of the requirement, to tell them what we're proposing their salary. There are some elected officials who will be getting the continuous step increase. The rest of them will be what they had last year, although the county attorney's supplement's increased, so that would be one increase in there. But the rest of the elected officials will either be the same as what they had last year, or just continuous step. And I think that starts it, as you said, Commissioner, starts it out of the box.
I'd just like to express appreciation to you and Dale and Teresa and the judge, and I don't know who all else was involved in making the sausage, but there were lots of hours that you don't see and don't get recognized for, and appreciate you doing it, because
Good job.
the process this year seemed to go pretty smooth, and I can certainly appreciate that and want to thank all of you that were involved in it.
Well, I think it helped that this year we had, as you know, we had an early meeting to get some input from all the whole court as far as then we sat down with the judge and we kind of tried to put that together. So I think getting some input from the court early on helped too.
And I want to thank Dale and his staff. The turnaround this time on data was great. We met on a Saturday morning and started talking about things, and before we got through with that, we were already getting changes from the auditor. And the past is the past, but the future looks very great, guys, very good, guys, because Dale and his staff did a great job and helped us get here. So thank you.
Yes,
We've got one set of figures this time.
Well, that's true.
By
Ronnie's staff did a great job of getting this stuff in on a timely basis. They really did, and he personally brought this stuff over and made himself available to talk about it, and that's a breath of fresh air, let me tell you. Yeah, they held. Yeah. But Joe McComb, thank you for your comments, and I want to thank all of you. I want to tell you, this is, in my opinion, a good budget.
It's a good budget. I agree too, Judge. I'm agree with everything that's on there, except a few things that I
know, and I appreciate that, Joe.
And
and this year,
when do we vote? When do we vote on this budget?
Okay, the budget, we have the final budget we'll vote on the 4th of September. We normally would do it. We could have done it the last Wednesday in August, but we have the post-legislative conference going on at that time, so we moved it to the week of September.
Well, because I went back to the DA about the investigators. I brought it up yesterday. And man, he said, just having a hard time. He said, if you could just do that one step increase, that would really help us out a lot. But, and I can understand that. You got police officers coming, from the police department. That's, and they're working every day out there too. So doing investigations, and it's not easy job. So, but anyway, those are. I'm still probably bring those.
Joe, and I appreciate that. We talked a lot about that. We did give him another person, and I understand that he'd like to have that person paid a little more money. But I would like to see if he can fill that job and see where we go.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Things already filled that job.
We are giving him a new car.
And
that was
car.
a bummer. He's
And by the way, I hope all our elected officials appreciate what this court is doing this year on vehicles.
Oh yeah.
This is a huge step forward in vehicles for this county, and so, hopefully they'll say, okay, this is good.
You said vehicles, and I went in back and talked to Elsa, Judge, on the natural gas.
Yeah.
So she's going to look at the whole fleets and see which of the cars that use the most
That's great. That's the way it should be.
most gas and come up with a recommendation of the top 5.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can,
We'll move it around.
nothing, but, we can do 4, it'd be even better, but if we can do 2, it'd be great. I mean,
We'll bite the apple one bite at a time. But thank you all very much, unless somebody has something else, and we'll move forward to adopting this budget on the 4th of September, and I think it's a good budget, and I appreciate the support of the court that's given to the staff and doing this, and,
still can make more recommendations, all right?
well, you can.
I mean,
You can make recommendations up until the vote is made.
I'm still going with that 1.5% cost of living or rates across the board. That's
Well.
going to be my deal. So
Well, that recommendation is so duly recognized, but I would like to tell you that I would like to reemphasize what this court has done by all the positions and reclassifications and the step increases, and
Good job.
it's big.
Good
It's
job.
big. Okay? Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. We're adjourned.